Well, welcome to Shamar Easter signing day. Spam risk. Someone's got a spam risk right here. I was fortunate enough to bring three of our new coaches. Marcus Woodson came over with me, and he's done a great job since he's been here. We got him from Florida State. I'm sure you'll want to ask him questions here in a minute. And Dan, of course, Dan Enos is back, getting the band back together a little bit, and excited he's back here. And Darren Wilson was our newest hire, and you guys, I want you to have enough time here to talk to them because you'll enjoy each and every one of them. They're outstanding men, outstanding ball coaches, but I'm really honored that they chose the University of Arkansas to come coach with me. Since we talked, we've added 3 guys on offense and 3 guys on defense since our December signing. Tyrone Broden from Bowling Green, Isaac Tesla from Hillsdale College, Trajan Jeffcoat from Missouri, Al Walcott from Baylor, Lorando Snacks Johnson from Baylor, and obviously we just talked about Shamar. So we went 3 offense, 3 defense in those additions. We signed 20 high school players. I believe that should be our minimum. You know, times change. I think the portal window and the signing date and all that stuff, I think we still have to look at that, but we need to recruit high school players. And so we were fortunate enough to sign 20 there. We've signed 10 transfers so far, and we have 9 scholarships still remaining. Of that group, we signed a total of 4 wideouts, 2 tight ends, 2 quarterbacks, a running back, and 4 O-linemen. And that makes us 13 on offense, 17 on defense with 5 D linemen, 4 linebackers, and 8 DBs. 12 high school kids are here. 8 of them are going to graduate in May and be here in June of those 20. 10 transfers, and they're all here. Portal-wise, to this point, we've gone 3 wide receivers, a running back, a linebacker, 2 DBs, and 2 D linemen. So I'm really excited about where we are. Change certainly can be looked at however you'd like, but I like to look at it as we try to change to get better. And I believe that's what we've done. So I'm open to any questions, and thank you for weathering the storm out there, the conditions.
Coach, it wasn't big numbers in Arkansas, but you managed to keep home the kids you offered with Easter finalizing that. How big was it to keep everybody in the state that you offered a scholarship to?
Well, our number one goal each year is to keep everyone that we've offered in the state, and we've done that pretty well. I think we lost one maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, but our high school coaches in the state are tremendous to us. We want to be good to them as well. But guys, I just feel like the fourth quarter comes, and I think it means a lot to everybody. Maybe a little bit more to a guy that's been born and raised as a Hog fan, and we certainly have a lot in next year's class that we're looking at. It seems to be a pretty good class in the state, but it means everything to us. And there's a lot of people that help us. That's parents, that's public, that's coaches.
I know you the 9 scholarships left. I know there's still spring ball and everything, but right now, portal wise, what would you say are the needs the most with those 9 right now?
Well, as you know, there's 85 scholarships, and we're at 76. So once you get to 76, if you look at it, an NFL pattern, you know, they're at 53, and they seem to be able to get pretty good players out there. So I think right now would be the best players available. I'm talking about scholarship wise. In other words, I'm not saying necessarily the necessity at the position. I'm talking about the number of people at the position. You know, we could use another bigger guy inside on D line, just again, because of numbers. Linebacker might need another because of numbers. Secondary, we've signed 8 to this point. We certainly would entertain, you know, others there. And I'd like to look at another guy who could snap the ball offensively. We've got to find maybe one more. In losing the guys last year, a bunch of those guys could snap. Obviously Ricky played center, but Jones could snap. And so we've got to continue to look at that on offense. I think we've got enough running backs, wide receivers. We may be full there as well, but we'd certainly take a dynamic one. Tight end, we might need an older tight end. I don't know number wise, say that we do. And then quarterbacks, we've got enough quarterbacks at this point. So I think that's where we'd go. I don't know if I answer your question, but that's where we'd look at.
I know you've had to have an offensive coordinator idea in your mind for a while with Kendall. So when did you make contact with Dan, and how do you think he's going to meld into what you're doing offensively? Like currently, how is his philosophies meld into this?
Well, I guess the first part of your question is, as soon as I found out that there was interest for coach to leave, maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes after that, maybe, or 5 or 3. And then, I've had respect for Dan Enos for a long, long time. I talked to Jamie last night. It's just different. When I was here the first time, he was my boss, and now I'm working with him in a different role. And I think you hire good people that are confident in themselves, but yet confident in guys they're working with too. I was very comfortable working with him, and I hope he feels the same about me. Offensively, I think he can answer a question better than me, but Dan has always, here, whether it be at Alabama, whether it be at Maryland, they've always ran an offense around their personnel and their talents, and all that starts at, in my opinion, the quarterback position. Dan obviously knew coming here what we have at quarterback, and we're going to use KJ's abilities to the fullest, and along with, Rocket and all the other guys, but. I'm an offensive line coach for a reason. I like to run the ball, and Dan fit in that philosophy as well. But the bottom line is we got to just score more points than they do. And I really like, since Dan's left Arkansas, he's been in multiple formations, multiple sets, multiple offensive philosophies that I think he can adjust and will around any of the personnel that we have.
Got pretty young on the defensive side with your coaches.
Yeah.
What do you think about the mesh betwin all the new guys?
Have you seen Marcus Woodson or no? Have you seen him? I mean, he go ahead. No, I'm messing with you, Marcus. When I interviewed Travis Williams, and I think I said this before, so I won't belabor the point, I knew he was the guy. I knew he was. I knew what's some of the major concerns you have in football right now. One of them is the portal. So you're going to have kids going into the portal, and you're either going to beg an average player to stay, or you're going to say, okay, we're going to go out and have the capabilities upgrading our team and replacing him. That's one of the reasons that Travis, obviously a very aggressive defensive guy, but right now the portal makes you better. And I've always been this way, but even more so now, you better hire recruiters. And recruiters are usually good people. And so I did that with him. And then Marcus Woodson is, I thought he was the best defensive back coach in America. And I think what they did at Florida State proved that. But he's a better man. And they're recruiting machines now. I mean, I was trying to watch a basketball game, talk 4, 5, 6 guys last night. And then Darren Wilson is the same deal. I mean, comes from a family of a coach, a very well-respected coach, a respected recruiter in his daddy, Frank. But he's different. He's a different guy. He's not his daddy. He has Louisiana ties. Excuse me, his uncle. I'm sorry. He's not his uncle, but he's he's got Louisiana ties, and we need to get involved in that state a little bit more. So that helped us there. And Marcus will explain kind of how that goes in the secondary, but I look forward to those two guys working together.
Go the kind of co-defensive coordinator route. Just how do you see those kind of roles being defined?
Well, Travis Williams is defense coordinator, and Marcus is the co. In other words, Marcus is going to handle everything in the back end. He's the man back there, and certainly he's going to have the help of Darren, but he's the secondary. He's the main secondary guy, and when they meet together, I'm assuming his voice will be heard quite a little bit. But Travis Williams is our coordinator, and Marcus certainly deserved the co-defensive coordinator title because of his experience and what he's going to bring to us. And to be honest with you, there's no way I could hire him just as a secondary coach because he's earned that right to be a coordinator.
See him and Coach Wilson kind of splitting up duties with the secondary.
I don't know. You have to ask those guys, really, I'm serious. You have to ask them because I'm going to let them split it up however they want to.
Coach, what was the connection with Darren Wilson? I mean, Marcus Woodson, we can trace that obviously.
Yeah.
But with Wilson, looks like maybe he was maybe not out of nowhere, but.
Yeah, well, he was rising now. I mean, he was going from Florida to LSU to another university that offered him, same day we did, or maybe we was a half a step ahead of him, but in the SEC as well. But Marcus and Travis had done a lot of interviewing, Zoom interviewing, and when I got Darren on the phone, I knew he was the guy we needed to hire. That he came highly recommended through the Zoom interviews, and of course, I knew some people that knew him, but that's how I became. We Zoomed a lot of guys, we interviewed a lot of guys, and we asked him to the prom first, and he said he'd come. So that was great.
With Shamar, obviously he probably would have signed early if you hadn't had shake up at tight end coach and stuff. But I guess what was that process like because he did take a visit to South Carolina and kind of reeling him back in?
Well, Coach Turner did a great job. I mean, he really did of building a relationship. And, I think Shamar wanted to come to Arkansas. You'd have to ask him, but I think he wanted to come to Arkansas for a long, long time. Anytime there's change, sometimes there becomes panic in it. Obviously recruiters will tell you, well, you need to go visit here, you need to visit there. And if you trust those people, then you do, but certainly Arkansas State or Arkansas and Coach Turner just Coach Turner's got a way about him, obviously he's got a lot of guys that went to the NFL, so he had that, but as a person, knowledge, coach, he's really, really good. And I think Shamar thought that once he went and visited another school and he came back, I think he thought that he could benefit staying at home a little bit more.
During your last radio show at the Catfish, so you touched on something real briefly about in-person evaluation and how important that is to getting to know the players, being able to talk to their coaches, their neighbors, their friends. How different was that this year, maybe versus what you've gone through the last couple of years with the restrictions?
I'm embarrassed to tell you a little bit about December, because December was fast and furious in a lot of ways. And to be honest with you, I saw everybody that's signed with us. I went into all their homes and all that kind of stuff, but it was kind of the fast and the furious because we had the bowl that we're prepared for. And then I don't know if our coaches were able to do as good a job getting back after I did. I was, we Lord's bless us with a jet, and we can fly around and all those things. But I don't think you really know somebody until you get around them, until you get in their home, until you get in their school. I think it helps you when times are tough. understand where they come from and what their needs are and things of that nature. And I just don't know that we can have playoffs, bowls, portal, lose 2 or 3 coaches. And at that point, it was all, 2 positions to coordinators and a coordinator to a head coach. They're all wonderful things. But how are you going to hire? And, the fans, they want you to hire a guy, before the other guy leaves, and I couldn't do that on defense because we were, out on the road trying to get to 23 homes in 5 days. And then the portal guys, the only time you could see them was Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, I'm in Georgia, and it's the only time. Well, if you don't come back or you don't send one of your coaches back, it's a mess. But we're going to ruin high school recruiting if we don't close that portal down before we sign high school kids.
Able to do recruiting, say like via Zoom. Do you think that contributed
Yeah.
to misevaluations in recruiting?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that, and then at the same time, you don't have camps. Well, you want to make them, you want to not to make a mistake. And what's the highest percentage you could not make a mistake? And that is have them on campus and see them do the specific skill drills set that you want to see. And you might miss on character, you might, but you shouldn't miss on athletic ability. And during that time, and it was basically 2 years, you didn't see anybody work out. You didn't see them do any type of skill set. They might send you a film and you're lifting 400 pounds. Well, that means you're strong, but can you maintain your feet? Can you get out of the way? What is it? Yes, I think so. And we should have less and less of that in the future of guys who it's not their fault, but it's our fault, who we might have, over recruited.
Feel more comfortable about this year's class?
I do. I really like this class. Now 8 of them's not here, but this class here, I'm talking about the high school kids, and I like the college guys too. But the high school kids, this is as good of a, I'm talking about work ethic, non-needy class, and it's only 12 now. So we'll have to ask me again when the other 8 get here. But just a group that wants to work. I really, really like this. They're a mature group of guys.
Coach, I think you talked about Armstrong the last time, but
Yeah.
your 2 other receivers you've added to Slaw and Broden, what do they bring to the table? And it's kind of an interesting group of guys coming from the FCS, D2, and the
Yeah.
MAC. Is there any concern at all with them making the jump to the SEC?
Well, there wasn't with us or all those other SEC offers they had. But and I didn't mean that. I mean, there was a lot of people didn't, yes, sure, there's a concern. I played at Pittsburgh State, if I went in the portal, I'd have stayed in the portal, but there's different guys that play D2 ball, you know what I mean? And, we brought in, the nose guard from Big Ridge, and he seemed to work out okay. There's always a concern of, why did they go there in the first place? And each one of them have their stories of why they went there. But talent wise, no, not talent wise. And workout, I'm excited for y'all to be able to come watch them in the spring because they're very talented and they're hungry. That's the one good thing about, recruiting guys that are a little bit D2, FCS. They haven't been, given academic money, and they're trying to scrape by. And are you paying for my books this year, coach, and stuff like that? Where here it's they're appreciative, I guess, what I should say.
And also, I think Zach Williams, Ladarius Bishop, and Nathan Baxter, the 3 guys, we don't know if they haven't announced that they're coming back. Are they returning? And could you give us an update on them?
Backs, who? Bishop and
Zach Williams.
They're working out really hard. If they're not, I mean, I don't know how to say. I don't know if they had a big, banquet set for it, or I don't know, but they seem to be working out every day pretty hard. Maybe they're getting ready for the draft. I don't know. I'll let you ask them. I don't know.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. We're gonna bring these guys up.
Yes, sir.